I'm gonna switch your chair in a little bit, Joan. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, you didn't hear me. I said I'm gonna.
Regular meeting for December 18th, both in person and available by Zoom. Calling the open session to order, and you are here, good. Inviting Student Board Member Latin to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And we have the introduction of board members and staff. I will start at the end here with Trustee Altman.
Do you want to share one?
And also technical microphone check time.
Oh, there you go. Just flip it over. Away from 0. Got it. I figured it out. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Trustee Altman. Ooh.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Nice to have you with us. Pamela Gardner, Trustee Area 4.
Good evening.
Good evening. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Jennifer Marquez, trustee.
Good evening, Trustee Sarah Northrop Gaddis.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. John Horner, Trustee and Board President.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Carmen Garcia, Superintendent. I'd like to address our Spanish-speaking community. A nuestra comunidad de habla hispana tenemos traducción simultánea. Por favor, hagan clic en el icono del mundo debajo de la pantalla. Gracias por estar con nosotros.
Good evening, Claudia Estrada, Executive Assistant to the Superintendent.
Good evening, Rebecca Latin, Student Board Member.
Happy Friday, Junior. Veronica Andrade, Trustee, Area 7.
Good evening, Trustee Munson.
Good evening, buenas noches. Diana Jimenez, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services.
Good evening, Correa Chang, Assistant Superintendent of Business.
Thank you all very much. We'll move to item D, approval of tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you, Trustee Munson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Andrade. Student Board Member Latin?
Aye.
Other trustees? Aye, if you agree. Aye. Any opposed or abstaining?
I have a question.
A question? Okay.
Yeah. On the last one, I abstained, and then I looked it over again. It does need a correction for November 13th. You had put on here that I inquired about the process for the board to provide direction regarding moving forward with DS&C consultant, and I was quote unquote reminded that the board had already approved it in a previous board meeting.
Is this regarding the minutes?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're on the agenda, okay.
All right, yeah, well, when we get to that, thank you.
Yeah, I was like, not sure what that has to do with the agenda. Okay. So we'll move on to item E, closed session action report. We have no items to report out of today's closed session. Item F, recognitions. American Association of University Women. Very excited to be welcoming the AUW here this evening. Chrissy Borsier will be along. I don't know how much of a team you have with you. Please step up here. Really, really excited to welcome you. You know, on thinking about this item, I think about my grandmother, whose father told her, forget that full scholarship, girls don't need to go to college. I think about my mother, who was very capable, not only in basketball, but mathematics and science. And it's like, honey, RN is as far as you can go. So she became a wonderful nurse. So I just really appreciate, I think since 1884, did I look that up correctly? Something like that? 1884. No, 1884, the founding of AAUW.
Yes, 1881.
1881, okay. I probably Googled that wrong. But just the work you continue to do on behalf, and now we're in a time when a majority of new medical doctors are women. The woman who helped me with my finger just a few months ago was an amazing woman, surgeon, and I appreciate that. So thank you for your advocacy. And I think Dr. Garcia would like to say a few words and then give you a chance. Look like you've got some things prepared as well.
As a very proud member of AAUW, I want to thank you so much for your 43-year investment in our school district. Every year, I happily volunteer to support with parking in the Wildflower Run, and I look forward to doing it again. So for everyone here present and listening to us, if you have not signed up, it's April 12th at Live Oak, please. It is the #1 fundraiser, the only fundraiser for AAUW, and I want to thank you because you give us all of that money back. And so our students benefit from those monies at Tech Trek, Young Women's Leaders Conference, the scholarship support, and many, 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 many other things that you do. So on behalf of the school district, on behalf of the school board, thank you for believing in our women, believing in our students, and I look forward to many years of partnerships.
Thank you so much. That was pretty much what I was going to talk about. Just for those who don't
We'll get the mic on here for you.
Thanks. Am I there?
Now you're good. Yeah.
I was just using my teacher voice. I am a retired teacher from Morgan Hill Unified. I taught math at both Sobrato and Live Oak. And now I'm the president, and it's the American Association of University Women is what AAUW stands for. It's a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization founded in 1881 with a mission to equity in education for women and girls. And our Morgan Hill branch, we began in 1991. And today we include more than 200 members deeply committed to supporting students and strengthening our community, as Dr. Garcia spoke about. And each spring, Elizabeth will be so happy that you talked about that. She's like, make sure you talk about this. It's our only fundraiser. This is where we get all of our monies from. It's the Wildflower Run. And every dollar goes directly back into the community through scholarships and community action grants. It's going to be April 12th next year, a little bit later than normal. Hopefully it won't rain on us this year like it did the last couple of years. So please watch out, and thank you, all of you, so many, especially Dr. Garcia and everybody else here who participates and helps us out with us. And like you said, our programs support girls and young women at every stage of their educational journey. We provide scholarships from rising 8th grade girls to attend our week-long Tech Trek camp. We have awarded college scholarships to graduating seniors for more than 20 years. We continue to support them once they're in college through our Keeping in Touch grants, all the way through their college graduation. And all of these scholarships are for public school students. We also sponsor a Young Women Leaders program, guiding students from 8th grade through senior year. They plan and present a free one-day leadership conference featuring speakers. They choose their speakers, they track them down and put it all together, and with hands-on workshops. And then we also have our community action grants, which we have awarded to different district programs, such as the computer lab at Martin Murphy, the lacrosse team at Sobrato, and a few other things. Yay!
All right, that's why you look familiar. So we are deeply grateful to Morgan Hill Unified for your ongoing support, especially for the use of Live Oak High School for the Wildflower Run, Central High School for our Young Women Leaders Conference, and that beautiful new Britain Student Union and our community programs. So thank you so much for partnering with us and continuing to support us in our mission. Thank you.
Any of your cohorts want to say
Oh,
anything?
my gosh, I skipped over that part. I'm so sorry. I have Harpreet Vital, our president-elect, and Jenny Redfern, who is our coordinator of scholarships, with me also. Thank you.
All right, well, we have a certificate and pictures and a few more things to do.
Okay, there we go. Oh,
comments.
My apologies, you're quite
That's
right.
okay. Don't you
Comments,
guys,
colleagues.
don't you ladies have to get to the Ren meeting?
yes, we do.
Okay.
You're slowing us down.
I swear, it must be a full moon today. It's been crazy.
The change of seats kind of threw us off. I
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, for sure.
I think Elizabeth, yeah. Okay.
All right, sorry, guys. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
It's in the front instead of the back.
We swap? Yeah. Well, you please, that's why I like to do that.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Christine.
Have a good meeting. You can come back later if you want. Okay. So we're on item G1, approval of minutes from the regular board meeting. Do we have a motion, or it sounds like Trustee Gardner had a comment?
Yes, please. You want me to go ahead now?
Yeah, if it's regarding the minutes, please.
So I wanted to ask that the minutes for November 13th be corrected to state that I also asked for, requested legal counsel's input on letterheads signed by the council with regards to allowing trustee Andrade to engage in bond-related matters when her husband is the director of our district's bond, for our district's bond director. So that was brought up, but it wasn't cataloged in the minutes.
True, and, you know, I neglected at the time, under future agenda items, we should be, actually on every item, we should see if there's a majority support for something, so I missed that time. But I'll suggest on this item that we table it, look at any edits, and I can also say I've consulted with council on best practice on minutes, just today, and their advice is consistently, particularly now that recordings are available, that the minutes should simply be a recording of actions taken rather than trying to be meeting notes. So we'll consider that later. I'm going to table this item for now, and we will come back to it at a later time. But,
And then maybe we can agendize it too for the videos, because for the longest time, we only kept them active for a month. And then it was brought up
okay,
to
well,
keep them active for a
so
year.
that's one that's not on tonight's agenda. We did change policy to keep them active for a year. There have occasionally been technical difficulties, but our current policy is to keep them up for a year. And if anybody's having trouble finding them, reach out to Mrs. Strada, and she can make sure they're accessible. So we'll move on to, so we're tabling G1. Move on to item H, public comment. It looks like we have 2 for items later, and then Laura N. on Zoom for general public comment. Members of the public may address the board on topics not listed on the agenda, so that's where we are right now. The board may not discuss issues raised not listed on the agenda, and we will take appropriate action as see fit. So do we have Laura N. on Zoom? None? Oh, I'm sorry, this says item H, so that is just general public comment. Okay, so these are also, all right, so well, let's see if this Zoom person comes back in the next 6 minutes, we'll go back to the otherwise not. So now we have Mr. Rebel, also believe you wanted to speak on general public comment, is that correct, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Not a specific item.
Okay, so this past week, I have seen at least 3 social media posts from teachers in this district asking the community for money, GoFundMe accounts. A second grade teacher needs reading materials that she says the district is not funded for. A special education teacher is asking for basic materials to help her students. This is the kind of stuff that the first dollar of money should be spent on in any school district. But this district, these basic needs are ignored in favor of waste. Instead of funding classrooms, the district has chosen to give tens of thousands of dollars to Wall Street financial advisors and at Dale Scott & Company and to attorneys at DWK for the purpose of helping the board allegedly decide whether or not you want to tax the community more. This is a complete and utter fiscal mismanagement for 2 reasons, at least 2 reasons. First, form follows function. You as a board can and should decide strategically whether you want to ask taxpayers for more money and if so, for what purpose. You do not need attorneys and Wall Street advisors to help you make that basic strategic decision. Secondly, and more importantly, you need 5 board members to vote yes to place a bond on the ballot for a Prop 39 bond. If those 5 votes don't exist, and I do not believe they do, then spending this money is the equivalent of flushing it down the toilet. The bond is dead in the water. It's money that could be used for teachers and students right now. Multiple board members have asked publicly to discuss the bond and parcel tax, yet this topic keeps getting delayed, pushed out, and kept off the agenda entirely, presumably by John Horner and Carmen, who appear to control the agenda setting. On a related topic, the contract with Dale Scott was misrepresented at the August 21st board meeting as suggesting it cost $90,000 for 1 year. The board never saw the contract because it was below the $100,000 threshold, and your policies apparently allow Carmen to sign any contract under that amount without board review. I eventually obtained the contract, it took me a while, and that contract actually grants exclusivity to this firm, Dale Scott, for 5 years, and it will cost over $550,000 if the bond moves forward, as I sent to you in an email, all of you. Those key terms were never disclosed to the board or to the public. Because the district mischaracterized the contract's essential terms, I believe the contract is invalid. My recommendation is straightforward. Schedule a special board meeting tomorrow, for today or for tomorrow, where you determine whether or not you need to pursue a bond or parcel tax, and if you do not have 5 votes, which is what's needed, stop the spending and terminate the contract is not even valid right now. If you do have 5 votes and you want to do it, then you can vote on doing the contract properly and bring it to the board for proper approval under board policy. Students and teachers come first. Basic classroom needs should never take a backseat to consultants, lawyers, and financial advisors. That's the bare minimum standard needed for responsible governance. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Mr. Benavides. We've also in general public comment.
Good afternoon, board members. So I usually see a lot of posts from our teachers at the beginning of school, and they ask in good faith for parents to donate money so that they could buy special stuff that maybe you do not cover it. I donate all the time, so I don't see that being a big issue. I think that I've also have seen a lot of bond measures passed, and I have never seen one bond measure approved by any council, city council, county council, or school board council that basically does not hire a bond consultant or somebody to come in and guide the board as to the processes and what needs to be done, to sample the community to assess whether there is any support for a bond measure. So I don't see any problem. And quite the contrary, to ask you to have a board meeting for you to decide whether you have 5 votes or not, well, you don't have the information yet. It's a very complex. Some of you are brand new. It's a very complex issue, and I think that you are doing the right thing in hiring a bond consultant to come in and basically provide the guidance and give you the information that is necessary. And I would hope that, I heard, Trustee Andrade, basically, her enthusiasm for a bond measure, basically to support our teachers. We're talking about housing for our teachers, our classified staff. Trustee Horner also talked about not only for our teachers, but our classified staff. We definitely need a bond measure so that we can provide support our teachers so they could live here, play here, and be part of our community here, so they don't have to be going back and forth. So I believe that I hope that you have the 5 votes, because I hope that Nancy Altman, Trustee Altman, who is a trustee, used to be a teacher and understands the need for our teachers, that she would support the bond measure. And I would hope that Rebecca Munson, Trustee Munson, who's also a teacher, would fall behind in anything that would foster our teachers and move them financially, economically forward. And I'm really excited about the fact that if we could get some housing for our teachers, our classified staff, that's really the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benavides. Okay, that concludes Section H. Oh, I'm sorry, I left my phone beeping at me here. My mistake. Turn that off. Oh, Laura's here now? Okay, so now we'll go to Zoom for Laura, please. Hello? We heard you for a second. You try again, please? Okay, well, we'll move on for now. If you get her back by the end of the communications item, we'll come back as a courtesy. But some people want to talk to us, we make every effort. Okay, so we'll move on for now. Student board member report, please.
Hello, good evening. I do not have a slideshow, unfortunately, but I do have a list of some events that are currently going on in the next weeks. So on 119 is Martin Luther King Day, so there will be no school for the district. Sobrato, a reminder for seniors that portraits and ads for the yearbook will be due tomorrow. Live Oak, there will be counselors meetings all throughout this next week and the week after that for scheduling classes. And then the winter rally will be on January 23rd. That sounds really fun. Britain is having their honor roll assembly on January 30th. Go support your kids. JAM has a middle school information night on January 22nd. And then Spirit Week next week after that with the movie night on January 28th. I will want to go see whatever they're showing. Nordstrom has a parent dance on January 23rd. Paradise Valley has a fun run when we come back from Martin Luther King Day on January 20th. Los Paseos is going to have a rescheduled coffee with the principal on January 23rd. And that's all I have regarding that. But I have done some pretty cool things that I would like to share for a little bit over the past week. So I think it was 2 weeks ago now, I visited Martin Murphy and Britain to discuss elective options going into high school and got to talk to some of the kids. It was really cool to like basically encourage the kids to try whatever they want and like get to see how they're doing in their schools. And then actually right before I got here, I was at the course info night for Sobrato, and it was also nice to see more 8th graders come out and learn more about what high school has to offer. So yeah, that's my report. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much. Now we're on item I2, superintendent report.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Horner. I too have a short and sweet report. We look forward to once again hosting Leadership Morgan Hill For our Education Day, it'll be January 23rd. All of the trustees have been invited for a meet and greet in the afternoon of the 23rd. And if you are unfamiliar with Leadership Morgan Hill, it's a series of leaders in Morgan Hill who participate in year-long leadership sessions, get to know Morgan Hill very intimately, do a deep dive on the city of Morgan Hill and everything that it has to offer. Also had an opportunity to connect with Senator Cortese. Senator Cortese is relatively new to representing South County, and so I invited him to come visit our schools, and he and I had a brainstorming session around school funding, so on and so forth. Just so that everyone knows, Senator Cortese is championing a bill. Well, he's hoping to do an actual measure, a statewide measure, that will equalize the funding when compared to basic aid districts. And so Senator Cortese is a very good friend of education and a very good friend of ours, of Morgan Hill. Also, we are incredibly proud of our career and technical ed opportunities that we offer at our high schools, that we are having our inaugural career and technical ed tour at both Live Oak and Sobrato High School. It'll be February 9th, and so I thank all of our CTE teachers at both Sobrato and Live Oak who are planning for this event. It'll be a full day event. It will start here in the district office. We'll do an overview of our 32 career and technical ed pathways. The 55 people will then board our school bus and visit the schools, and then they'll come back for a luncheon for a debrief. Our ultimate goal is to ensure that the community understands a very robust career and technical ed program that we offer at our high schools, but also, and more importantly, to be able to identify partners who can come and continue to support and enrich our career and technical ed. Site visits, absolutely, that's my happy place. So I deep appreciation to Sobrato and Live Oak High School. I did a visit. I visited our AP capstone courses, so AP Seminar and AP Research, and I was able to talk to the majority of the students who described to me their research ideas and their final paper that they're working on. My God, like impressive topics. And of course, my little kinders and my first graders are the best. I'm also a member of California ASCD, and so we offer premier professional development statewide. And so I'm happy to report that this great organization continues to invest in our teachers, but also provide some quality PD for our paraprofessionals. 5th year doing Chats with Carmen, and so I had my Chats with Carmen last week. Everyone is invited, and so I look forward to seeing you all next month in my Chats with Carmen. And lastly, I have to provide a shout out. There's just so much incredible work happening throughout our entire district. And a special note and a special shout out to our new teacher induction team, a 3-member team, strong in partnership with Santa Cruz and Silicon Valley, among others. But these are all teachers who are clearing their credential, and they're working so hard, and their work is so intentional. I would like to, I'll work with Assistant Superintendent Jimenez, and we'll make sure that Melissa, Carol, and Ann are able to come and present to the board their fantastic work on new teacher induction. And so a special shout out to all of our teachers who, on top of teaching during the day, they still have to come on some select days to help with clearing their credentials. So thank you all around. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Move on to our I3 employee group reports. Do we have a report from the Morgan Hill Classified Employees Association? Okay, not this evening. So we will move to the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers. President Yen.
Good evening, board trustees, executive cabinet, and community members. My name is QA Nguyen, and I am honored to be the elected president of the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers. Last board meeting, you heard from 4 of our site representatives about Article 4 compensation. At this meeting, you will hear from our Jackson Academy of Math and Music representative, Denise Listall, Live Oak High School's Ingar Wong and Jillian Ray, as well as Ann Sobrato High School's Andrea Kasanovich. So first we have Denise Listall.
We need a snare drum to welcome each one on.
I am Denise Listel, and I'm an 8th grade teacher at JAM. I teach language arts and social studies, and I have been teaching in the district for 21 years, the last 14 years at JAM. I was there when we opened up. I am here to talk about Article 15 of our contract, which has to do with class sizes. This subject is near and dear to my heart because most of the classes at JAM are at the contractual maximum. I am living at full teaching throttle. Because I started my career teaching 3rd grade with 20 students, then 5th grade at about 28, 7th at about 30, and now 8th with 36 students in each period, I have seen and felt the sacrifices made by students and teachers when the maximum is hit. By the way, if I was still teaching 3rd grade today, I would have 30 students. That would be a 50% increase in the number of students. Large class sizes help with the budget, but there are some pretty big sacrifices. One big sacrifice is our ability to provide small group or individual instruction. Another is our ability to provide timely feedback on assignments and assessments. One change I had to make a few years back when my 8th grade language arts class rose to 36 is I had to rethink the number and expectations of long writing assignments. Having adequate time to provide timely and thorough feedback on multi-paragraph writing for 72 students is extremely challenging, especially when I am analyzing thesis, evidence, and conventions. When we don't overload the classrooms, teachers are better able to focus resources, provide differentiation, and avoid burnout. Teacher burnout is real and causes teachers to leave the district for better working conditions or just retire early. Even reducing the maximum number of students by a few would provide our educators at all levels more time to dive deeper into the data resulting from assessments, produce more detailed feedback regarding student progress on graded assignments and report cards, increase availability for communication with the families they serve, extensively manage and support concerns that arise in the classroom and around the campus, optimize preparation for and contribution at various types of meetings, and more. It is not just teachers saying 36 in a secondary class is too many. Industry research concludes smaller classes are better for academic performance and teacher retention. One meta-study found an 8% academic performance increase in smaller classes. Common sense backs this, which is why private schools and charter schools advertise smaller class sizes as a way to lure our students out. MHUSD has contractual ratios that are high compared with the national average. A quick Google AI search told me that the average number of students in middle school classes in America is 22 to 27. Our average is 29. But we can and do go up to 36, as this average is a district-wide average. And this district-wide ratio, as well as the district's allowance of extensive transfers, often results in discrepancies between sites in the number of students served in grade level classes. JAM Middle School is at 36 in almost every middle school classroom. This makes meeting all the responsibilities and expectations of us extremely difficult to manage. Simply put, our classes are too big. I believe student engagement would improve and teacher burnout dissolve if the district chooses to reduce the number of students in our classes. I urge you to do what is right for teachers and good for students by focusing on ways to reduce the number of students in our classroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Now we have Ingar and Jillian.
Good evening. My name is Ingar Wang, and I'm here with Jillian Ray to speak on behalf of ourselves and our colleagues in regards to the topic of class size at the high school level. Countless journals, articles, reports, and even teacher blogs emphasize the importance of class size in regards to student outcomes and teacher effectiveness. Smaller class sizes allow for much more individual attention, targeted intervention, and effective differentiation as teachers have the time and capacity to truly get to know their individual students and prepare lessons and materials that are specifically crafted to meet their needs. In a secondary classroom, even going from 36, which is the current max, down to 30 in every class would mean that a full-time teacher goes from having 180 total students to 150, which is a reduction of almost a full class of students. As you're about to hear from Jillian, we are asked to provide an increasingly long list of supports and accommodations for our students as well. In order to do our jobs effectively, we are expected to get to know their interests, preferences, academic needs, and learning styles in order to keep them engaged. We are asked to look out for signs of distress, bullying, and conflict in order to intervene and direct them to the appropriate programs or support staff. We are also asked to know their backgrounds and provide culturally responsive materials and lessons in order for all of our students to feel safe and recognized at school. This does not account for any of the individual behavior and learning plans that more and more of our students are receiving that we also must know and are legally bound to follow.
Speaking from my own experience as an elective teacher, I almost always have the maximum number of students in my classes, 36. I and my fellow elective teachers also have approximately 30% of students with IEPs or 504s that require specialized help and attention. I want to give you an idea of realistically what it looks like on a day-to-day basis. You have a class of 36 students and you introduce an assignment. You ask if anyone has any questions and no one raises their hand. You have a high support needs student and therefore you have to chunk the assignment with them. Your classroom phone rings and the office is requesting a student be sent. While answering, you get no less than 5 hands raised asking for clarification on something. You then attempt to answer those students individually to tailor your feedback to them and their needs. While this is occurring, your high needs students starting to escalate in behavior and you need to reassure them and work with them one-on-one to start the assignment. Your classroom phone rings again and the nurse is asking for a student to be sent. At this time, another student with an IEP needs a check-in to make sure they understand the assignment. 5 more hands raised. A student confides a personal issue to you and you need to decide in the moment whether you need to call the wellness center. You do your best to talk them through the problem and offer the resources they might need. Your classroom phone rings again with the office requesting the backpack of the first student and homework be sent up because they are now going home for the remainder of the day. You think, how can your phone ring this many times in a single period? Your high needs student is starting to panic and you have to de-escalate them. The bell is about to ring and you realize you haven't had a chance to check on the students who didn't raise their hands. The cycle continues next period. Now imagine a similar scenario outside in PE with 48 students. Overall, we know that class sizes are too high. However, we also need to put emphasis on PE classes where the class size maximum in MHUSD is greater than the recommended size and often pushes our facilities to the limit. How is a PE teacher expected to teach to standards when they have to be in 2 places at once because the building they need cannot hold their entire class? This is literally happening in our district. We also need to note that ratios are an important part of the class size discussion. Inclusion classes at the secondary level have high ratios of special education students that go beyond the recommended amount. Teachers have around 15 students with IEPs in 1 class period, as well as additional students that have 504 plans that are not counted in the ratio. This adds an extra layer of responsibility. While students with 504 plans are not counted towards the inclusion ratio the same way students with IEPs are, they still need specialized instruction and accommodations beyond the default supports built into the general education classroom. When inclusion classes are over the recommended ratio, often don't have a credentialed special education teacher as the co-teacher and require additional accommodations for students who are not counted towards the inclusion ratio, inclusion teachers can be left feeling defeated and frustrated that what should be a supportive class environment appears to be turning into tracking students.
Teacher-to-student ratios are equally important in the ELD classroom, where language supports get added on top of all the other supports and considerations that are required in a general education classroom. ELD classrooms also have students who require IEP and 504 accommodations, and providing all this makes it extremely challenging to have the time to give targeted feedback and individualized instruction to a population of students that are already facing a language barrier in the classroom. It is virtually impossible to provide the proper care and attention to every single student with the class sizes as they are. This leads to teachers overextending themselves and burning out at alarming rates, trying to balance lesson planning, differentiation, grading, accommodations, building relationships with students, emails, IEPs, and so much more. Class size is a complex issue, and while we understand that not all these things can be immediately or directly addressed, teachers do deserve some consideration into how these issues can be alleviated. Outside of a reduction in class sizes, ensuring that all classes with high inclusion ratios, even the ones that are not designated as inclusion or co-taught, have extra adult support would greatly help meet the needs of every individual student within a classroom. In PE especially, this would make a huge direct difference, as we do not have a designated adaptive PE course, and providing adaptive accommodations within a class of 48 is exceedingly difficult. In addition, we recommend that PE courses that follow CTE pathways be rostered as CTE classes with a cap of 36 rather than 48. Ultimately, if we want to provide the best learning environment for all of our students, we have to give teachers the time and capacity to give each of these individual students the attention, support, and care that they need. Alleviating class size issues would be a huge step in doing so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ingar and Jillian. And now we have Andrea from Sobrato.
Good evening. My name is Andrea Kasanovich, and I am a high school teacher at Ann Sobrato High School. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. We're here this evening to affirm why we are all in education, our desire to give our students the best tools to be productive members of and leaders in society. Those of us speaking tonight, as well as our colleagues across the district, fundamentally believe in that mission and in serving all students with equity and with diligence. In hopes of creating an equitable classroom, teachers work hard to align their classrooms to district initiatives when it comes to curriculum and instruction, but there's one thing that could also help that we often overlook: a reduction in class sizes. Class sizes are something that, absent of any other changes, can provide better learning outcomes for our students. According to research for secondary classes by Faye Antonui, Mohammed Algami, and Kosuke Kawai, who gathered data from 21,000 schools across 80 countries, the critical benchmark was a class size of 27 students. Increases beyond 27 students per class were linked to non-linearity and unpredictability in school readiness. They further concluded that a smaller class size allows the instructor to deliver a more tailored education, which increases the likelihood of meeting each student's requirements and concerns. We know this, right? Although district-wide teacher-to-student ratios fall below this mark for a 7-day period, secondary classes are allowed to get as high as 36, where classes are capped contractually. As the researchers noted, teachers in smaller classes are more successful at providing equitable learning environments for students. The reality is that a secondary classroom teacher with a caseload of 180 students is not going to be able to give meaningful and timely feedback on student work to the degree that they would like. For a teacher hoping to grade 180 essays at 5 minutes an essay, a single assignment would take 15 hours or 10 full prep periods, more than we have in a week to grade. Many assignments ask students to submit several drafts for the same assignment. Regardless of teacher expertise and care, there are not enough hours in the day to provide the kind of feedback students need to fully develop their skills. Likewise, there's not enough time in a class period to have meaningful extended interactions with students. Jillian spoke really eloquently about the realities of a class period. I see you shaking your head. With 36 students in an 86-minute period, if a teacher wanted to have a discussion or give feedback to every student in the room, the absolute maximum time each student would have would be 2 minutes and 23 seconds. If that were all the teacher did, bell to bell. We are a district that values personalization, and as educators, we know how important it is to get to know our students, but our class sizes limit our ability to do so. One of the strengths of our district is the diversity in our classrooms. However, this also means that teachers are addressing the very different needs of many students simultaneously to ensure all students can access the curriculum. Addressing the unique needs of 36 individuals, or 48 in a PE class, or 60 in a music class, within the contractual time period while meeting all other work responsibilities and while caring for ourselves and our families is a superhuman feat. This has a particularly significant impact on our students with IEPs. In our collaborative or inclusion classes, we're doing the above while also ensuring that we're managing and providing the unique and specific accommodations to support the learning needs of the students. Additionally, many general education teachers are being asked to do so in classes that have a paraeducator, not a certificated special education teacher, as their collaborating partner. All our paras are fantastic, and they are the best in the business. They're non-certificated staff. They don't have the prep periods, the schedule, or certifications necessary to support the general education teacher in planning, grading, modifying assignments, which again results in an additional time constraint due to having maxed out class sizes without necessary support. Equity not only comes in the form of student-to-teacher ratios, but also in student-to-school ratios. School districts calculate teacher-pupil ratios by dividing total student enrollment in the district by the total number of certificated teachers in the district, often expressed as full-time equivalent or FTE, yielding an average. But teachers do not teach every period, so the actual classroom ratio is higher. Due to school-to-student ratios, along with an inequitable allowance of student transfers within the district, uneven demands have been placed on some sites, especially at Sobrato. Even as it becomes clear that Sobrato is over capacity, placing a strain on campus resources such as student and staff bathroom access, complicated and overcrowded room sharing arrangements, and wellness center use, the district has enclosed the transfers. For the past 2 years, the district has asked some Sobrato teachers to take on an additional class section because not enough were available given the student population. This year, the district again asked Sobrato teachers to take on additional sections weeks into the school year, disrupting not only established PLTs, but also hundreds of student schedules who were forced to drop and adjust classes unexpectedly. This year felt especially egregious because we believe that the district should have been aware that this was going to be a problem based on the situation and numbers from the previous year. And yet it appears they once again allowed maxed out class sizes, perhaps banking on fixes that never materialized. Teachers were offered the carrot of a 0.2 additional pay for the year, but this could be at the cost of things such as their personal time and PLT and preparation time. To fix this, we should consider and decide whether we could reduce the 36 class size maximum in secondary classrooms, as well as the district-wide student-to-teacher ratio of 29:1 in a 6-period day and 23:1 in a 7-period day. As previously stated, teachers are not teaching every period, so while the district-wide ratio falls within the research, the reality is that teachers have a greater ratio. Further, if we look hard at reducing secondary class size maximums, we can find additional benefits, such as allowing even greater elective course offerings at some sites. For Sobrato, this could mean that some academic electives could be offered without maxing out the class at 36. This would allow us to align with our partners at Live Oak better, who have reduced class sizes in advanced placement classes or in other academic electives. I conclude my time by thanking you for your care and your passion for these humans. We know that this is not an easy fix. We ask that you continue to support them on their journeys by offering more tools to help them succeed, by showing them that we care about what we offer. Finally, let's remember the goal of education is to produce better humans, not test scores. Let's equip our humans. To quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., intelligence plus character is the true goal of education. Thank you.
So, to expand on what you just heard, I want you to imagine that you are vice president of a company. You're responsible for giving a presentation to a room full of 30-something employees. You need to have each and every single one of them deeply understand, be able to recite from memorization, and be able to apply appropriately and accurately the mission of your company. All within the next hour, checking on each of their progress consistently throughout your presentation and giving and grading an assessment on their knowledge at the end of this time. Oh, and don't forget, you're also differentiating for their individual needs. Ingar shows up late, he didn't get sleep last night, and he hasn't had breakfast, so he's pretty hangry. Jillian, who needs an extension on her project assigned yesterday, raises her hand and asks for it in the middle of your presentation, diverting the attention of all to that thing from yesterday instead of the current task at hand. Denise and Andrea also are struggling to give one another their personal space today, so you have to frequently redirect them. And only one employee did all of their preparatory work beforehand in order to be ready to participate fully in your presentation, while another has been gone from work for 2 weeks and does not understand what the presentation is even about. Don't worry though, you've got this. And now you're an aerobics instructor. You have 48 customers who all signed up for the same cardio class and are all at different stages in their exercise journeys. Unfortunately, they can't all fit in the workroom you have been assigned. They are all at different stages regarding their strength and endurance, and you have to have them all meeting certain standards at the end of your short 6-week course. So you give it everything you've got. This time, you're a conductor of an orchestra, And this orchestra has 60 musicians, ranging from experts in their art to just picking up an instrument for the first time. Imagine the chaos. You have a concert approaching in just a matter of months, and you only have so many minutes a week to practice together, so you better get started. And finally, this one doesn't have a metaphor, as I can't think of one in my English major brain to compare the enormous and daunting tasks these educators take on. Both our general education teachers and special education teachers who are in inclusion at elementary and co-taught at secondary classes have raised concerns when it comes to our students' learning environments. While in conception, these classes are a good idea, the rollout and implementation of these have been problematic. For example, we currently have a lower elementary inclusion class that has 27 students, 12 of those having an IEP. Over 44% of the students in that class have an IEP. The one other class at the same grade level on that same campus has 26 students, and only one of those has an IEP. Under 4% of the students in that class have an IEP. We currently have a secondary co-taught class that has 32 students, 15 of those having an IEP. Over 46% of those students in that class have an IEP. Another class of the same subject at a different period on that same campus has 36 students, none of whom have an IEP. So 0% of those students in that class have an IEP. Why is almost every student with an IEP, regardless of what it is for or how extensive the needs are, being put in one class? Why is only one teacher having to take on all of the differentiation, accommodations, paperwork, meetings, and more that this requires? And why are they being assigned this with no offer of additional time or compensation for all that they have to do? While we understand that the lower elementary teacher has 2 paras to support, paras don't have prep or planning time with the teachers, and paras can't complete the necessary paperwork in order to prepare for an IEP meeting or attend in the place of the teacher so that they don't have to go to every single one of them. And while we understand that the secondary teacher has 1 certificated co-teacher to support, co-teachers do not case manage all of the students in this class, so they are unfamiliar with many of their needs and accommodations, and co-teachers can potentially be pulled in order to run IEP meetings for other students on their caseloads during this class. These supports aren't enough when you have tasked these educators with such a tall order. It is necessary that we put parameters and protections in place so that not only our educators are supported by having the working conditions needed to be as effective as possible, but also so our students are supported by having the learning environments needed to make as much progress as possible. Class size maximums should be seen as a limit, not a goal. I think it is necessary and time for us to truly dig deep to ensure that the funding we have is spent in the best ways possible. And in order to assist with this, I bring an ask from my last time at the time of the mic again this evening. Agenda item K8 this time, K11 at the prior board meeting, I want to reiterate my previous request that 2 board trustees sit on the Budget Advisory Committee as this newly formed body, going to its 2nd year of inception, gains an understanding of the upcoming district revenues and expenditures, and ultimately makes recommendations that have great and possibly grave impacts on the 500 educators whom I represent. Again, I believe it is imperative that 2 of you are present to learn, hear, and uphold. I see overseeing the budget as one of the main responsibilities of your position, especially in these times of a budget shortfall. Once again, I ask that you amend the 8th line of the assignments table to include 2 more representatives for this vital work. Let's ensure our district's funding is as absolutely much as possible going to our campuses, into our classrooms, and for our students. Moving on to a separate note, I want to address this evening Keenan Safe School trainings. While concerns regarding this remain outstanding, what no longer is that of compensation for individuals who completed a training that was inappropriately assigned to certificated employees their first week of school back in August. The district has now agreed to pay these individuals an hour at the hourly rate for their time and effort, and the Federation leadership is appreciative that the district rectified the situation last month. Also, you will see that both the Federation and the district have included their negotiation openers for approval at this board meeting. I would appreciate a yes vote from all of you, and the MHFT negotiations team looks forward to a creative and collaborative bargaining season. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for working all day and then coming to speak with us tonight. We appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to the Morgan Hill Educational Leaders Association. Do we have Mr. Bookser? Don't see him in the room, so he must be on Zoom.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
We hear you, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present tonight. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Wanted to give you a quick update from Mihaela. Your principal's been working hard on updating the school accountability report cards, in which you guys have tonight. And those are up from the results from last year. The SARCs are always a year in the past. We have finished up our iReady testing and are currently analyzing data from our winter assessments. Some of our schools had some PD with iReady, helping us to calibrate and differentiate based on the tools and resources that iReady has available to us. Our district had a PBIS training, and all of the schools, elementary schools, were there as we are working with our TFI, which is a tiered fidelity inventory that holds us accountable and gives us kind of benchmarks where we achieve to move up from silver to gold to platinum. So that is coming in March and in April. Our high schools finished up with their middle school presentations and are coming back to the schools to schedule the kids in classes. Our secondary principal leadership teams worked through some inclusion and rightful presence professional development this week. Your district Warmhoven Inclusion Leadership Academy had professional development today in Santa Clara, focusing on communication. And we recently have had our first quarterly joint health benefits meeting to organize and set forth in motion the next meetings as we move into the rest of this year and next year. And finally, your schools are getting ready for the Saturday STEAM Fair at Live Oak. And I know there's going to be a big representation and a great opportunity for kids to come over and learn some hands-on science and through STEAM. Anyway, that is it from Mihaela.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bookser. Appreciate it. And thank you as well for working late again. Maybe this is early for you. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll move on to item I4, board member reports. Do any board members have something they'd like to report? I think Trustee Andrade, were you reaching for your microphone?
Yes.
Did you have something,
Yes.
Trustee Munson, or?
We're going to give our.
The AEC report we have, okay. All right, please,
yes.
please, Trustee Andrade.
Want to acknowledge I was just going to give a shout out to some students in the room. I think you're the last one standing. This over break, I had the pleasure of watching Mr. Ledwith's, Brad Ledwith's documentary, The Mighty Oaks, about the Live Oak lacrosse team. I would highly encourage you all to either rent or buy this documentary on Prime, Apple TV, also on YouTube. I was just blown away. It was just another powerful reminder of what happens in this community. I think our high school parents are incredibly passionate and supportive, and this documentary, I had messaged Brad and I just said, the love you have is so evident and it comes across. And I really love the storytelling of all the individual students and their personal struggles and everything that they overcame. And it was just really fantastic. So please support this in any way possible. Secondly, I recently attended a training for Gavilan College, but to work in our correctional facility. So this is pretty exciting with some funding to work either in the San Benito County Jail or the main jail downtown. And how this is going to tie in is some board assignments, hopefully. So that's something that we're expanding at Gavilan College, and I'm really proud about. So. The last thing I'd like to share is that I toured Metro Ed in San Jose yesterday, this week sometime. What a phenomenal facility. I don't know how many of you are aware of Metro Ed in this, who are paying attention on Zoom tonight, but it is a career technical education center for the high schools in Santa Clara County. The first time I heard about this was when I started teaching at Pioneer High School, and a majority of my students would leave my fourth period early to attend the program. And just to give you an idea of the programs they have there, they have medical assisting, fire, robotics, construction management. They even have a dental hygienist program, an automotive program, and as a father of a mechanic, a daughter of a mechanic, Frank's Auto Service off Railroad Avenue, I have to say that the automotive program really was special to me. And what was even more special is that these classes meet A to G requirements, and the robotics class could be substituted for physics. And so I hope that we can further our relationship with Metro Ed possibly, just because it was really exciting to walk into a classroom and see these students so engaged, and something that they can take with them after they graduate. And these kids are being transported 30 to 45 minutes, maybe even an hour a day, and they all said it was worth it. So yeah, Metro Ed off of Hillsdale. Ask for a tour.
Anyone down this way? Okay, seeing none, I have a few things to report on. I joined Trustee Andrade for the visit to Metro Ed. It was, I think, my third time I'd had a chance to visit there. It's incredible. And the automotive program is all about electric cars with the support of 4 different manufacturers. So that was pretty cool. When talking to the students, most of them are going on to the various related community college programs at Evergreen has some, and the other one, Mission has a large automotive program. Very, very interesting. Then I'll touch on the work of the County Legislative Action Committee. We're well underway with advocating on behalf of our schools. In fact, earlier today we met with Senator Cortese's staff, the same office that Dr. Garcia had met with him recently, and he has really continued to be at the forefront of trying to up-level the funding that districts, we don't meet the concentration grant requirement, which I'm not going to describe here right now. We're not property wealthy like some districts, so I call it, so we're bad Goldilocks, right? We're not rich enough to not care, and we're not quite poor enough to get extra help from the state. So it's a real unfortunate situation. So, I'm glad that at least a leading senator like that is aware of and trying to address the issue. Also, through the county association, we have, not this Saturday, but next, unfortunately, the same time as the STEAM Fair, I believe. Same day on the 24th, but if you're not going to that, this is a leading and challenging time, so we have a panel of 4 retired superintendents who all in their period have been through various kinds of challenges of all kinds, and we'll be having a discussion with them for current board members, superintendents, assistant superintendents. Again, this meeting is not being recorded. It's not being broadcast because we want everybody to feel like they can speak very freely. And it's interesting, I've been involved in the planning with the retired superintendents. They're like, well, maybe our knowledge is a little out of date, but we also, on the other hand, feel that since we're no longer trying to make a living at this, we can be really direct. So, for any of our assistant soups, the superintendent, board members, really encourage you. It's a whopping $10 to participate, and if that's a problem, that'll be waived. We just did that because we find that when people pay a little something, they don't just RSVP and no show. They're like, I paid for this. I'm gonna show up. So, but if $10 is a stressor, you're welcome to come at no charge. Just let me know. Also say that association also has an informal lunch every other month. I was able to go recently, and one of the conversations that came up there was a more ongoing support for people in board officer positions, and there is a CSBA level kind of introductory training, but that's really just an introduction, and many, well, what do you do in this situation? What do you do in that situation? Kind of conversation. So we'll see if something formal, or many of the people that participate are or have been board presidents, so it's kind of an informal support network, but looking at if there's more that can be done there. And then the last thing I'll mention, I was honored to attend the State of the State, which is the governor's speech at the Capitol. Speaker Rivas invited me out of longstanding mutual respect. I have more, well, he knows who I am, and I have great respect for him. I guess I'll put it that way. I don't want to say our positions are in no way equivalent. It was a huge job, but it was really fascinating, being in the room while that conversation was going on and thinking about at the state level and from local level, the 40 million people we all have a duty to serve, and how that was very present in the conversations coming from the dais there, that we're trying to do the best we can by everybody, and that is very tricky. 40 million is a lot. We only have 8,000 students and 850 employees, only. But again, that's who our responsibility is to, and that was very present for me. Okay, I will close my report there. Any last reports from other trustees? Thank you very much. We'll now move on. We did not get Laura back, so we're on item J, consent items. Do we have any trustee requests to pull items for further discussion from the consent calendar? I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry. We did, we'll go back then to the public comment, the technical difficulty. Laura Ann on Zoom, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, yes, I'm not prepared to talk right now, so that's okay. I'll come back another day.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, very good. So we will go back to J, consent. Do we have any requests to pull an item? Yes, trustee Gardner.
Yes, thank you, President Horner. I would like to pull 4 from item J1B for the contracts for ratification. Would you like
So
to-
1B, you're talking about
1B
ratification?
as in
of
boy. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
No.
Any others? Seeing no others, do we have a motion to approve the remaining consent items?
Oh, well, that's what I asked him. Do you want me to tell you which 4 I want to identify in the contracts?
No, we'll come back to that. We'll approve the remaining consent items, then we'll return to the one that's pulled for further discussion.
Thank you.
Okay? So do we have a motion to approve the remaining items? Thank you, trustee Munson. Do we have a second? Thank you, trustee Altenman. Yes, board member Latin, student board member. Thank you. Other trustees, please say aye if you agree. Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, so now we will move back to item 1B, ratification of contracts. You have a question or comment?
Yes, please. On 4 of them, line item, the 4th line item, the 11th line item, the 12th line item, and the last line item.
4, 11,
12, and I don't know the number of the last one, sorry.
Opening it up on my laptop here, so I... Okay, so the 4th item is the youth cinema project. Is that the one you have a question?
Correct.
What's your question?
Well, my questions are, and it's more of I'm wondering, especially since we've heard from the teachers and we're going into a really challenging time with the budget, I have a strong objection to these 4, if you total it up, they're almost 323,000. And that's without seeing the contracts and knowing if, like the Dale Scott contract, there are things down the road that are going to be cost to us. And, if we had the money, I wouldn't take issue with any of these, but I just don't see these as like a super high priority when there's at least, when I looked at GoFundMe, teachers out there requesting funds and help, there was at least 7. There were 2 from Barrett, 2 from El Toro, 1 from Ansobrado, 1 from Britain, and 1 from Paradise Valley. So, I think we need to reprioritize and focus back on the teachers in the classroom. And I'm really struggling with going with, for instance, the Carenza Educational Consulting Early Middle College Grant.
Okay, let's, if we may, let's address one item at a time.
Yeah,
We'll
go
ask-
for it.
We'll ask for, so on the Youth Cinema Project, Dr. Garcia, who would like to kind of respond to what that is and how it's being paid for? That's you or Dr. Jimenez? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and address both the Latino Film Institute Youth Cinema, which I believe is the 4th, and then the 12th, the Latino Film Institute Youth Cinema Project. So one is a pilot. It's for Britton Middle School. There are 60 students, and it is for our after-school program paid for by after-school dollars. The 12th, same one, that's for the summer. It's part of our summer school. For 4 years, we partnered with Silicon Valley Tech Academy, and Silicon Valley Tech Academy has now merged with the YMCA. And so our replacement for a Silicon Valley Tech Academy type experience is the Latino Film Institute Youth Cinema Project, and that would be in the summer. And again, that's paid for by after-school money. And those are monies that have to be spent on students in a before or after-school format.
Okay, well, thank you for that. But again, I still struggle with why are we having such an issue living within our means? And I'm asking repeatedly for the breakdown of information that was requested initially in August, I believe, of 2024, which I still haven't gotten. And you say we've got all these other resources and not the general fund. But for example, again, going back to the Dale Scott thing, it said bond money. But it's like, how is that? What bond money are we getting it from? And we're getting bond money from a previous bond to pay for figuring out if we want to go forward with a future bond?
So I can only speak to what's agendized, and so what's agendized is before us. You are specifically asking for some of those contracts, and I'm providing answers for those contracts.
Helpful. Why don't we get contracts? I'd like to have that
You
be
can have access-
implemented again. We used to get the contracts attached, and
So
we're not
the-
getting them anymore. We haven't gotten them in 2 years.
With all due
3
respect,
years.
with all due respect, your question was on specific contracts, and I'm answering the questions.
Shut the fuck.
What was that? Please mute the whoever's chatting on Zoom.
Flores successfully applied for a middle college grant, about $250,000, specifically for planning for an early middle college. And so the Carranza Consulting is assisting us with that effort. And so in the document before you, it indicates how it's paid for. And so it's paid for by the early middle college planning grant, specifically money earmarked to plan for a middle college.
I understand that. I guess I don't trust it because there's no free lunch. And so, I went round and round with Jesse Swift at the last meeting about the grants and how those breed more spending. And I just feel like we're not getting answers. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion on this item or other questions on the consent? Sorry? Are we allowed to ask questions out here? I'm sorry. No, you would have to have full a comment card at the beginning. I'm sorry.
Do public comment at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that conversation complete, so call for a vote on this item. Do we have a motion to approve the signed contracts?
I motion that we approve the signed contract.
Thank you, Trustee Altman. Do we have a second?
Andrade.
I'm sorry.
I know, you're always looking at, yeah.
Thank you for setting me straight. Thank you, Trustee Andrade. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President. Do we have a, let's see, this is something the student board member can vote on or not. The student board member, would you like to place a preferential vote?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. And clearly, this is not going to be unanimous, so if we could just call the roll to make sure we have the record correct.
And I'm sorry, can we be really crystal clear? Is this for the 4 that I pulled?
No, well, you pulled the whole item, the signed contracts. So there's not a way, we either approve the signed contracts or we disapprove the signed contracts. There's not like a line item veto.
Great,
So
thank you.
this is to approve it, including the ones you have objection to.
Okay, thank you.
Please call the roll on approving this item or not.
Trustee Altman? Trustee Andrade?
Aye.
Trustee Gardner? No. President Horner?
Aye.
Clerk Marquez?
Aye.
Trustee Munson?
Aye.
Vice President Northrop Gaddis?
Aye.
Okay, so that includes the consent calendar. We will move to item K1. Now we're opening a public hearing regarding the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers proposal regarding negotiations for the 26-27 school year. So these items are kind of awkward. They go two-part. We'll open a public hearing. If anybody wants to say anything about them, our region representatives kind of built that in, but if you'd like to say any more, you can. So I will quick little gavel here, say at 7:14, we're opening for public comment on this item. Do we have any additional public comment? Seeing none, we will close public comment. Now move on to K2, which is the adoption of the proposal, and Assistant Superintendent Tavares will present this item. I believe she's joining us via Zoom.
Good evening, trustees. Am I coming through clearly?
We hear you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for considering this item. We will be beginning to negotiate with the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers. They have presented the attached Sunshine proposal, and I would very much so encourage you to approve the proposal tonight as presented. I am here to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve this item?
I motion to approve the item.
Thank you, Trustee Andrade, for the motion. Thank you, Trustee Munson, for the second. I think I got that right this time. Thank you. And is this one our student board member weighs in on? Okay, sorry, you get to sit this one out. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, that passes unanimously.
Thank you,
We're
trustees.
now moving to K. Pleasure. Don't go far.
I won't.
Now moving to K3, public hearing regarding the Morgan Hill Unified School District's initial proposal to the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers regarding negotiations. So these are our so-called openers. So I will, at 7:15, open the public hearing. Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, oh, the clock changed, good. At 7:16, we will close public comment, move to section 4, and again, Assistant Superintendent Tavares.
Good evening again, trustees. We are absolutely thrilled to present to you tonight the district's Sunshine proposal with Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers. We have thoughtfully put together our list of articles that we would like to sunshine and meet our partners from the Morgan Hill Federation of Teachers at the table to negotiate. We are thrilled to work together with them to negotiate for the 2026-27 school year, and we respectfully ask for your approval of our sunshine.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? Not expecting any. Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Thank you, Trustee Andrade. Do you have a second? Second. Who wants that one? Okay, second by Trustee Altman. I heard a lot of talk down here. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Now on
trustees.
item K. Thank you very much. On item K5, we have a request for public comment for Mr. Roble. So if you could approach the microphone, sir. timer going here.
Thank you again. So page 9 of the school accountability report card, I just picked Live Oak, but it doesn't matter which one. They're the same numbers when you're looking at the district. It says, what % of students are meeting or exceeding state standards in math, English, and I think science might be a different page number, but it's in there somewhere. So math is 38% of the students are meeting state standard, which means 62% are not, because I actually met math standards. English, 50% are meeting state standards, and science, 37% are meeting state standards. So in general, those numbers are roughly on par with the state. But the problem is the state is not exactly known as one of the superlative outperformers of education in our country or internationally. So that's not good. So I don't think we should be doing high fives around how great our performance is. And there's, on a positive note, there's room for improvement. And I think addressing exactly what the QA and others were talking about, getting the class sizes down, providing what the teachers need in the classrooms, people, not buildings, right? People, not we don't need bonds are for buildings. We don't need more buildings. And enrollment's projected to go down anyway. So I would focus on all the resources on getting the class sizes down and helping the students with reading, writing, and arithmetic, not quote unquote wraparound services and trying to be in everything to everybody and all those distractions that don't have anything to do with reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then page 22 talks about what % of the budget is for teacher salaries. And I was shocked to see this number, 32%. So 68% is going to things other than teacher salaries. Like, to me, that I don't know why the QA and others aren't up here with that one. That's outrageous, right? Why is more than 2/3 of the money? And we talk about whatever it is, $15,000 per year per kid. But I bet the teacher portion of that is less than, is $4,000 or something, right? So that's not good. And then lastly, when I got a copy of the org chart, the span of control from, which fortunately it's correct in showing the residents at the top of the org chart, then Carmen, then the board of trustees, then Carmen, and then when you look at Carmen on down, the span of control, there's like 4 people. When I was at HP, right, the CEO, Mark Hurd, said, nobody's going to be more than 3 people away reporting from me, the CEO. And this is a 300,000 person organization. I was the vice president, and I was 2, or 1. So nobody's more than 3 away from the CEO. Yet we have in this tiny little district people that are 4 away from Carmen. The span of control needs to be reduced in terms of the number of layers in the district office, and that will help drive the percentage of teacher salaries up and focusing on things inside the classroom, not outside. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Assistant Superintendent Jimenez will present this item. And I believe we'll read each and every one of them out loud to us, right?
Right. There'll be a quiz with multiple choice and an open task. Good evening, trustees. Under the requirements of Proposition 98, California School Districts Board of Trustees are mandated to prepare, publish, and disseminate the annual School Accountability Report Cards, lovingly known as the SARCs, for each school in their jurisdiction. Tonight, we bring forth to you for approval the 2025 SARCs for each of our schools.
Do we have any questions on the SARCs? Or comments? Yes, please, Trustee Altman.
Well, as I went through the SARCs, it's really interesting if you look at how the schools perform. And then I was looking at the average teacher salary per site, and there's actually a big swing. And it's also related to school performance. And for instance, the 2 I'm looking at right now, average pay at Walsh is $98,741 compared to, let's see, which school is this one? Nordstrom, which is $106. And so what this is, and maybe Nordstrom or Walsh wasn't the best example because it's just gone bilingual, but this is just saying there's quite a discrepancy between tenure of teachers at the various sites. And I just want to say that teacher longevity is a key driver in education. Old teachers rule. said as a really old teacher. But these are the kind of interesting things, for those of you not familiar, that you can get from it. You can see the differences in the sites. I approve them. I will make the motion to approve the SARCs, but I just want to call out some of the interesting things and patterns you can see as you look into them.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the comment. In case anybody's unclear, our teacher pay is essentially seniority based. So when you see a disparity from one site to the other, it's kind of a disparity in weighted average seniority. It's not that we're intentionally paying better at one school or another.
No, teachers
I know
get
you
paid
know
the
that,
same.
Trustee Altman. I just want to make sure that people, listening or observing don't think, well, really? I get paid better to work at school A than school B? No, it's just really a question of seniority.
It's looking at seniority, which is one predictor for student
Yeah,
achievement.
which is still important. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just clarifying for.
So that I'm not misunderstood. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, so we have a motion from Trustee Altman to approve. I think you made the motion. Do we have a
did.
second? Second. Trustee Andrade, thank you. Student Board Member Latin. You can. Oh, okay. It says so right here in my notes. Thank you. Other trustees? Aye if you agree? Are all in favor? Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, that passes unanimously. So then we move to item K6. We have on K6 two requests. Oh. Okay, sorry, we're going to juggle just a little bit. The auditor, who actually has to tell us about that, will be available at 7:30. We've been moving right along, so.
Parking right now.
Oh, he's here.
Just so we're
Let's take a bio break. Excellent idea. Until 7:30, we will take a short break, and then everybody will be ready and always. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was so excited, I just kept going. Come back to order, please. Is my mic on? Oh, I think I'm. Okay, I'm gonna, we haven't yet started 6. I'm gonna go back to 5 for a second. I missed on my notes here that Mr. Benavides wanted to make public comment to the school accountability report cards. Is that correct, Mr. Benavides? Yeah. My apologies, I missed that on my little array of Post-it notes here.
Yeah, so I do want to, I don't know if it's on.
Yeah.
Is it on?
Okay, it's on now.
So I just want to kind of comment about PA Walsh again. I appreciate the fact that Trustee Elman brought up that issue. And I do want to say that there is a big difference between the pay of the teachers there versus Nordstrom. And my thought is that normally you would probably have more of a rotation of teachers coming in and out of the two districts. So some are lasting there a little bit longer. And that's why you have a little bit of a decrease in the pay scale there. But I also want to say that I do appreciate the fact that I see, like, for example, and it's probably across all the schools, I'm just going to focus on PA Walsh, is the fact that we do have some resources there for our teachers because they're talking about how hard it is to manage our kids. We have counselors there. And I'm really looking at, I lost my page because I didn't get called in, I took it off, but I believe that you have 1.5 counselors there. We have resource people there to provide support and services that helps our teacher, because the more resources we have for our teachers outside of the classrooms or inside of the classroom, the more it is that our teachers are going to be effective in whatever they're doing. The kids are going to feel better and the families are going to feel better. So I do appreciate the fact that despite our economic woes, we still continue to provide that kind of support that is good for our students and also good for our teachers, because I think it helps them overall. So that's what I wanted to make a comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benavides. All right. So now we will move on to item K6, the 2024-25 annual financial report. We have requests for public comment from Mr. Robel.
Thank you. Okay, so the big caveat that I'm not an expert in school accounting, right, government, this type of accounting. So I do know accounting, but I know it's a unique beast. But the last meeting, we talked about the budget after, I think it was over 2 hours of ceremonial stuff and a whole bunch of things. So we were all tired, and it went very fast, and lots of dizzying array of numbers. So I'm not sure I got the bottom line of what were the spending cuts made and what decisions were made as a result of that. And I know there's a letter from the county talking about that we're in precarious financial situation. So the bottom line, are we in trouble? Are we not? Are there cuts that we need to make? Are there not? Were they made? I missed that in the meeting, and maybe I was really tired, but maybe you guys all know it, but I think it would be great if somebody summarized it, and it wasn't really in the minutes. So, and I do have a public records request to get this warning letter from the county about how, there's a projected deficit. I would like to see that. And I need to study those numbers more, and I'm unable to get a meeting with, I guess the district won't meet with me to just help me understand it. So, but I did read this audit report, and I had somebody smarter than I am on school accounting, and this was the comment from this person who's, like I said, much more knowledgeable on this. Unassigned reserve, this is on page 56, right, which I think is a key page of that report. Unassigned reserves now total $42 million. The budget is $152 million in revenue. That's a very high fund balance. I can't see any public agency being able to spend any significant emergency resulting in a loss of funds that would require a 31% reserve. And a second point, instead of a budgeted deficit of $18 million, the budget, you actually had a surplus of $412,000. So you did quite well. There's no deficit in the financials you're about to review. And your auditor agrees with that. I just talked to him. Wow. So actual revenue was over budget, over revenue by $7.1 million, and expenditures were under by $7.6 million. So does somebody not know how to do budgeting? And his comment was, so does someone who knows how to budget needs to do this work. Accounting is not budgeting. It looks like some conservative accountant prepared the budget. So another year of bad forecasting. Public agencies receive public dollars to provide a service. When agencies hoard the money, they deny students in the community the education services they need and for which the community is already paid for. In my view, this group has no business asking for a parcel tax or even a bond measure. They can't even spend what they have already been allocated. So this is a much different narrative than what the community is talking about. And it's even honestly what I thought based on the last meeting, and I need to reread it. And I'm not dumb, but I'm not genius either in this stuff. So I think the board really needs to force the district to clarify what are the bottom line and independently understand it, whether we're in trouble or not, before we start looking at the sky is falling and we have a crisis and everything else. And I didn't actually hear that the sky is falling and there's a crisis either, so I don't really know what the takeaway was. And I think part of a finance person's job is simplifying complex things and making it understandable for the public. I don't think most people understood what happened that 10:30 at night on December last year.
Please wrap up. Thank you. And Mr. Benavides, I believe you also wanted to comment on this item?
Yes. So I do have to thank the financial department because I'm looking at this document, and it's so complex. I think you have to have a PhD in accounting to be able to read it. I don't know if I had to glimpse at it and it's like, okay, so it's very complicated. But I mean, the bottom line is this is an accounting, financial accounting. It's a representation from a professional who is very well versed in accounting, and this person has evaluated, has looked at all the data that's available, the financial data from our district, and it basically it's a stamp of approval saying we're doing a good job. Everybody knows that it's not only our district that is dealing with a budget deficit, and how do you manage it? Our income fluctuates up, it comes down. The good news is that I read that the governor's budget that's going to be coming up is looking very well for school districts. So it may be that we're going to get a little bit of an upswing and get a little bit more money available to us, which is really good. But I do like, the final results. One of the things is that it says that our average daily attendance has decreased by 72 over the past 2 years, and then it's expected to decrease 43 in fiscal year 25-26. I remember when I was in a budget advisory committee, they said that even a 1% increase in our ADA really saves us $1 million. And it's really kind of funny because I was thinking, how can we reach parents so they come to our schools? And I'm thinking we have so many new buildings going up around our whole district. And my thought was, why don't we put together a little welcome package for parents, because we know when those developments are open and open for business so people can buy the houses or rent them, and we should send them a welcome from Morgan Hill Unified School District. This is your school, this is where your kid will go, and you'll be very happy. And I was thinking about that, and I thought I would tell you that so that we could put that in effect, so we could get that ADA higher than we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benavides. Assistant Superintendent Chang is going to now actually introduce this item. I guess just one brief comment on my own as we move on. Just looking back, I took accounting in college in 1980, a long time ago. So over 40 years of experience in kind of business and traditional nonprofit financial management and accounting. And 7 years here, and it still gives me a headache trying to understand how you do what you do. And with the state changing its mind 3 or 4 times a year, they determine our revenue and the metrics. It is unbelievable. So I'm not surprised anybody finds this maddening, because I'm a little better at it. But 1980 was when I first studied accounting, and it's still pretty tough. So please, I'm sorry for the personal commentary. Please continue.
Thank you, President Horner. I would like to introduce Mr. Ahmad Garibay with Eddie Bailey, and he will be presenting fiscal year 24-25. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board, governing board. This is the annual financial report of the district as of June 30, 25. The scope of the audit is to ensure that the financial statements are fairly stated. We begin the audit around the beginning of the year, around March or February of every year, and it's a process that is ongoing, that goes on all the way through November or December. We split the audit into 3 phases: the interim phase, the final phase, and then the reporting phase. We come in around April or May, and we do specific tests mainly related to your internal controls. We look at the manner that you process receipts, the manner that you process disbursements, the manner that you process payroll. We like to see reviews and segregation of functions and duties, appropriate accounting for those transactions. We also look at your federal compliance and state compliance. You receive federal and state funding. You are required to undergo an audit with respect to that as well. And then we wait for management to close the books, and then we come after the fact. And it's just what we do is confirm. I mean, this is really why we're here. We confirm the numbers that were previously reported to you by management. I think it goes to you in the form of unaudited actuals. We confirm your cash. We confirm your state revenues. We confirm your that, we look at your capital assets, whatever that is reported on the financial statements that is material to the reader of the financial statements. And then at the end of the day, we issue an opinion on your compliance with state and federal requirements and on the fair presentation of the financial statements. And I'm pleased to let you know that the information that is presented here in this financial report, which basically mirrors your unaudited actuals. We did not have any audit adjustments to these financial statements. And I'm pleased to let you know that it's fairly stated. We issued a clean opinion. I do want to thank management. We can't do it without them. We confirm. And so we connect with your creditors, with your bankers, with your grantors. And that's what we do, is confirm. And management is the one that helps us in the process. And so we issued a clean opinion. And with that, I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
Could you give us just a brief background about your firm? How many districts you do this for, how long you've been doing it? I believe you're very credible, but just your elevator pitch.
Yeah, a firm is one of the larger firms in the nation, and my group specifically, mostly located in California. I think we audit about 200 school districts in the state of California. So that helps us audit your LCFF. It's a complicated calculation. So it helps us connect with CDE. We know folks at CDE, the county office. We talk to them as well as we talk with the district as well. So that's what we do. This is the main bread and butter of the business that we do at the firm.
Thank you. Any other questions? Trustee Altman?
So this might be more for Assistant Superintendent Cheng. And I've talked about AI in here before. And so if you get an AI summary, it's like this long and reasonably sized text, and then you can get to the meat of the matter, right? And one thing the AI summary picked up was, let's see, I want to make sure I get it, that the fund balance, the general fund balance decreased by $3.7 million, primarily due to spending down carryovers from COVID-19 grants. However, this is better than the budgeted decrease of over $18 million. So that's like, does this sound, it's over 14 million, like $14.3 million doing, does this sound like, and AI is sometimes hallucinates. So I'm just wondering, is there any basis for this claiming that the general fund decreased by 3.7 million, but it had been projected to decrease 18 million?
Well, I mean, I would want to ask the AI agent what its basis was, but.
Well, it takes it, and it's just crunching the numbers. And one thing might be, so I'll offer one thing is long-term liability. It says decreased by 11.2 million because of CalPERS and CalSTRS new standards, which that's great if it is. But does any of this make any sense to you?
I would need to confirm what data points you're using to get AI to produce that solution.
It just took the report. And, yeah, just scan the report, and this is what it spit out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to answer that in terms of I would need to see all the data points that AI is considering to produce those numbers and those outcomes.
Yeah, and the data points were just what was in the report. So that's why I'm really confused here. So we'll meet next week, and then we can
Absolutely.
poke at it.
Okay, it would be lovely for the AI agent to explain its work, which they never do. They're really good at sounding authoritative, but
Did
it's like,
CalSTRS and CalPERS change their pension liability levels?
I have some input about that.
Please.
Because I see other school districts. And so they call it pension liability. And the pension liability is basically two numbers: your projected pension payments in the future minus some investments that are located with CalPERS and CalSTRS. And the Dow Jones went up, and the S&P and all the markets went up. And so the way that the pension liability is calculated, it's the projected payments minus whatever that is in Sacramento. And because they made a lot of money, that pension liability dropped.
Awesome. Thanks.
So good stock market has been helpful.
Thank you. Other questions or comments?
I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
And maybe this ties into that, but what was it, the amounts were not restated for the effects of the implementation?
Could you refer to a page number or something that?
Oh, sorry, page 8, the bottom of page 8. And it was in the beginning of the report too. The GASB statement number 101.
Yeah.
What is that, and how did that change our numbers? I
So
guess?
every year you have a new accounting standards. They call them GASB, or Government Accounting Standards Board. And they issue a new standard, reporting standard. This year was related to compensated absences. And because that page that you're looking at is comparative, it's comparing this year with the prior year. And so the district did provide the numbers for that 25, but it's rather difficult to go back and reissue that 24. So we disclose here that there's a little bit of a difference in the comparability between the 2 years because of the implementation of the new standard. The implementation of the new standard was implemented in the 25 fiscal year, but not that 24. And I can tell you that this district did not have a significant change in its equity as a result of the implementation of this standard.
So it was basically apples to oranges, kind of, sort of?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, it's likely apples to apples because the restatement was so small, but we have to disclose the fact that the 24 was not changed because the numbers, it's quite a bit of some work to implement the new standard. So we just took it from 25 and after. But did the restatement change? Had it been implemented in 24, would it change these numbers significantly? I can tell you that this district did not have a significant change.
And that compensation relates, that was from a change from Sacramento, or?
It's a reporting change. It's not a cash outflow. The cash outflow remains the same.
Okay.
But it's a reporting change. So previously, sick time was not reported as a liability on your financial statements. And that's because it gets forfeited upon retirement. And so with the new change, GASB, they came back and they said, well, sometimes you will pay it while they are working for the district, while the employees are working for the district.
Okay.
And so we want you to recognize the expected usage in the future by those employees out of their sick time. And that's the change in the reporting standard. It will have no impact on your cash flow. It will have no impact on your fund balance.
Okay, thank you, that's very helpful.
Seeing no others, do we have a motion to approve the report?
Report.
Thank you, Trustee Andrade. Do we have a second? Second. Is that Trustee Altman? Thank you. Let me see here. Student Board Member Latin, how's your accounting? Aye. Thank you. Other trustees, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Seeing none? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, now we'll move on to item 7. This is key learnings from California School Board Association. So this is something we've done for several years. trustees go to this conference for several days, give an opportunity for those that were able to go to come back and share some of what they learned, I think is pertinent. So this year it was trustees Altman, Munson, and myself. I'll go last, as I try to do. One of you want to pick who wants to go first? Okay, trustee, do you have a presentation, or are you just going to speak?
No,
to it?
no, I don't have a presentation.
Okay.
Sorry. Full-time kindergarten teacher?
No, I'm just asking for
joking.
process. If you did, we'd wait till it came up.
I was just joking.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so yes, we went to CSBA, and it's always a really nice experience to go and be around other educators and, educators, but board members and other people that are involved in education. The two biggest things that I got from this that I took back, I attended one of the sessions. It was about library book challenges. And I think the biggest thing that they were talking about is to have a policy in place for when they are challenged, because a lot of districts are caught off guard. So it's important to have that in place to know how to handle the situation. So you're not kind of coming up with it on the fly. It's like have that policy and be able to follow that. And then the keynote speaker, Matt Lehrman, he was amazing. I really enjoyed him. I was like, okay, this is great. He invites respectful dialogue. It was all about disagreeing and doing it in, in a respectful way. So disagreeing is necessary and natural, and we bring different perspectives. So inviting that conversation into wherever you are, looking for common ground, because again, not everybody agrees, and then listening to each other, working together to find a solution. So not everybody has to agree. And then he was talking about, when there are issues in the district, and having that community input, put the info out early, and then come together to discuss the issue so people feel heard, and then coming together to solve the big issue. So not having it be isolated to just maybe management, but to community members and that kind of thing. Move from conflict to conversation. So yeah, it was very awesome and amazing.
I have a quick question. When you
Yes.
said challenges to the libraries, what was it in relation to what?
When people want to pull books from the library, and
People mean the public or?
Yeah,
Okay.
anybody really.
Mhm.
Anybody can pull a book from the
Right,
library.
right. It's supposed to be able to.
Mhm. Yeah. So to have that process in place.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, the mechanism. Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, it was,
Thank
it
you
was
very
a
much.
good experience.
Words of wisdom. Appreciate it. Trustee Altman.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Trustee Munson, about the keynote
On
speaker.
being agreeable?
Yes, on being agreeable, but, so some of the key learnings I took away, one is legislature right now might be looking at considering alternative funding rather than basing our funding on attendance. And possibly looking at something crazy like enrollment, because basing funding on attendance in turn hurts the students who do attend, because their schools will have fewer resources because other kids chose not to come. And so this has been taken up, which you alluded to, but it's looking at changing how the funding base away from attendance. AI. I attended a workshop on AI. I'm not going through all the workshops I went to, but some of the ones that either I had an aha moment. And as policy is considered for AI, one thing they really pushed is you need to, as a board, we need to decide if we want a permissive approach and saying, yeah, you can use AI, and then say except for, a few things, or restrictive, like, nope, it's shut down, and then things get added. And this is exactly the platform of whatever screen thing we were using when I was an assistant principal, where I could either GoGuardian, where either I could flip a switch and say no website is allowed, and then I have to manually add in what websites kids at Britain would be allowed to see, or say they can see everything except for, And that kept me busy in the entire COVID time, was entering websites the kids couldn't go to because it expanded every day. You know, like, oh my God, what are they doing here? I got to block that one. So just as we're thinking of policies, you know, and just this is like a meta approach to how to look at something like AI, which is amazing, but it hallucinates, or it gives you what it wants you to think, or it's not always right. It is amusing, though, if you put AI against AI and you ask different platforms the same questions and then compare them and say, why is this one wrong? And they'll tell you. But it's an endless loop. I went
Rock'em sock'em AI.
Exactly. And so that's, I'll need to run it through another AI for the audit and see what the next one. I only used one. Bonds. I went to the breaking down bonds session. You were at the session. And the one big thing I learned, which really matters, is there are two different propositions that allow general obligation bonds. Prop 39 is the relatively new one. It was at 2000-ish, where a bond requires 55% to pass rather than the supermajority of 2/3. However, that requires 2/3 of the board to approve the bond. And so if a simple majority approves the bond, then the bar is set at the 2/3 for the public. So that's pretty significant. And then Prop 46 then requires 2/3 majority vote of the public, but it has fewer restrictions if passed. And so this is something that we're going to have to look at very closely and moving forward. And I'll ask that we have a discussion. I'll put that on new business once again. And those were the main things I walked away with.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was as Trustee Altman said, was at the bond session as well, and I concur. And just about everybody does the first type now, the Prop 36. Okay, just adding to what my colleagues have reported, CSP also had a number, not all, of the gubernatorial candidates there for a gubernatorial forum. I've lost track of how many people are running for governor in California, and keeps going up. I think the San Jose mayor is talking about running now as well. But so it was very interesting to hear the dialogue, and it seemed, from my perception, CSBA wanted to make sure that at least for those who were there, you know, CSBA on behalf of school district was kind of representing the concerns of schools. So that was interesting, a bit dizzying as well. And then they did one also for the state superintendent of instruction. Though interesting, we'll see what happens. You know, I referenced the governor's state of the state, which happened after CSBA, and he's proposing a pretty significant restructuring of how the state Board of Education is organized. That's another whole topic. But if something like that happened, the role of the state superintendent would be more restricted, similar to how the Board of Equalization was merged into the California Department of Fees and Taxes a while ago. Different, but you know, similar, trying to merge things at the state level to be more efficient. Just the comment I've had on that with my colleagues in the legislative action, I have yet to hear from any school staff member that they just love everything the Board of Education does for them, and that it's perfectly efficient and clear. So maybe we'll get some relief from the state that way. But back to that. Also, I went to the Capital Advisor sessions. Capital Advisor is an interesting group. They do financial analysis and political analysis, more from a political end, but they were it's kind of a leading indicator. So they, at that time, were saying the Legislative Analyst Office affiliated with the state legislature had put out its report, woe is me, the financial hard times are here, prepare to cut back. And then they mentioned that was also what the LAO did a year ago, which led to many, with the state also, for the year we're in right now, so far revenue is coming in much higher than anticipated. So some of the, how that's all going to work out, we'll see. But they said, we think when the governor comes out in January, he's going to say everything you got last year and a few things more, which if you looked at the governor's recent release, Capital Advisors nailed it. So they're inside track on what to expect from the governor So it was spot on. And of course, we won't know until there's a May revise, and then a June budget, and then a July trailer bill. And this is one of the crazy complexities of our school finance. The state changes its mind. We have to make decisions now. We have to make, or not now, we have to make decisions in March, but we don't actually have like 95% certainty on our revenue until July, and it can change. So that's just always something something of concern. But then I also Ms. Estrada, I wanted to go to the presentation. I went to a presentation on early middle college, which is something we're in the research phase on now. Let's see if you go to, I think just when you bring that up, I'll just hit on a couple pages. If you start on page 2, yeah. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because that was 90 minutes and I'm going to take 5. But just by contrast, so that there's a lot of different ways people do this, early college, middle college. One more, please. It's thinking about it. Yeah. So this happens to be in West Covina. They're, in this case, affiliated with a community college. Next page, please. Oh, wow, that came across strange. Unlike some, so like the closest one to us here is Gilroy has with Gavilan. They call it GECA, Gavilan Early College, which is on the Gavilan campus. This one is on a school district campus, so that's more similar to what we're looking at. But GECA, when it started here in Gilroy, was supposed to be to get kids that otherwise may not go into college to go into college. It has evolved over time into a competitive enrollment situation, more like, I think, having grown up in New Jersey, more like New York City's, Tech High, and New York City has a number of these, like, if you're a very high achieving student, you can get into this very special school, and GECA has done that. That is not what I understand we have in mind for our district here. If you go a couple more pages down, that was kind of how, so this was interesting. Well, back up. There we go. So in this case, they took an existing previous elementary campus and refitted it to meet the needs of a high school and college environment for hundreds of students, not thousands. In their case, they spent a little over $3 million in general fund, bond, and capital funds. But ongoingly, their ADA, so their average daily attendance-based revenue, is exceeding actually their operating costs by about $800,000 a year. So that's interesting, and they're pursuing grants and whatnot. We could jump down now to page 10, or just go. Yeah, again, I don't want to go through. Keep going. Policies. And anybody wants this presentation, I'm happy to forward the whole thing to you. One more? Yeah. So they end up with a little bit smaller class size at 25-1. A lot of college and career readiness coursework specific to that. Next slide, please. Some very unique programs. Speech and debate. They have a very active speech and debate team, which is competitive and recognized. They're doing esports, so that's kind of interesting. I don't think we're doing any esports right now. You don't quite get the physical workout, except for maybe your thumbs and your neck. But it's not a world I'm part of, but it's a huge thing, esports. Next slide, please. Thinking about it. Again, the whole benefit of dual enrollment. Next, please. I want to get down to the demographics. Yeah, okay, so I'll stop here for a second. So the goal for all students is they complete 60 credits and an associate's degree and their high school diploma. So right now what we're doing in our 2 comprehensive schools with dual enrollment, you're getting a high school diploma and some college credit. This is next level. You're getting an associate's degree as an 18-year-old. And they part of when they're pitching it, it's like, hey, here's what you're saving. That would cost you $2,700 a year to be going to community college or so forth and so on. Next slide, please. Recruitment, keep going. Okay, so here, this is in this one. So the bottom left there, you see outside and within. So about 54% of their students are students, within their attendance boundaries. About 45% of the students are coming from adjacent districts. I think GECA is probably pretty similar as well. Gilroy's little one. 70% socioeconomically disadvantaged. So this meets the version of early middle college where you're trying to not only provide an outstanding educational opportunity, that's credit, but also disproportionately reach students who their families might not have had a college-going tradition in their family. And this is kind of consistent also with their, and so 71% Hispanic or Latino, 17% Asian, so forth and so on. Next slide, please. Yeah, so it hits that. There 97% attendance, 100% graduation rate, 97% A to G completion, 97% of their students are going on for four-year university degrees, and 37% have met the general education transfer. Anyhow, I'm not going to read all these to you, but really quite significant. This one is very much focused on kind of traditional academics as opposed to CTE. There's different ways to go there, but and I think there might be one more slide. Yeah, and that's kind of their dashboard results. So that's a quick overview. Like anybody wants to see this, happy to email you the whole presentation. It's not exactly what we're considering, but it's more similar to it than the vast majority of them out there. Send your kids to a college campus, right? And which is a model. So this is one of the few I've come. I went to this because it's like presentation. Oh, this is a little bit close-ish and informative, and again, really appreciate it's for all students. So 70% socioeconomically disadvantaged, which means 30% not. So you have people from throughout the community participating and taking advantage, and I just believe passionately that should always be our goal and educate. We're all for all. Yeah, that's it for my report. So I think the three of us who went have reported. The superintendent was there. Is there anything you'd like to share from AEC? Okay, very good. Okay. So we're on item 8. This was a holdover from our last meeting, the appointment of representatives to board assignments. Folks had provided to Ms. Estrada their initial requests, which can you make this full screen just of that? Do you have a way we don't have to see all your menus and stuff? It's getting. Can't you go to view full page under there? Under draft board committee? View. That helps. Okay, we can see a little more of it. That's good. Thank you. Okay. So we'll start at the top. The board officer elections, those are complete. The county committee on school district organization, the clerk is assigned to that. The personnel commission, at the moment, we have a request for an alternate. I don't know if Trustee Marquez, if you're interested in taking that on as the regular instead of the alternate. Trustee Altman, you had something?
Yeah, I would like to consider President Nguyen's request to have two questions. One, could we consider his request for 2 board members on the Budget Advisory Committee? And is this like the BAC, or is it what used to be the Budget Committee?
Let's discuss that under item 8. So happy to. Let's just kind of go one down if that's okay. So for the Personnel Commission, we still need a regular participant. Is that something you're able to do, Trustee Marquez, or no? Yes. Okay, so we can you live edit this or no? Okay. Now this is Personnel Commission, so Trustee Marquez will take that on as a regular. Is someone interested in being the alternate for one, if there's one she can't make? Trustee Altman. Okay, so we'll put Trustee. We're going to put a little table up here, do a little arm wrestling.
I'll serve as an alternate.
Okay.
All right. Heavy emphasis on the alternate. I've got the equivalent of 2 full-time jobs right now.
So Trustee Marquez, you are wished great health, as is your entire family and any neighbors and pets. Okay, we have not had any requests for the District English Language Acquisition, which meets once a month in the evenings at the Face Center. Is that at a particular day usually?
Yeah, it's usually the last Monday of the month.
So typically the last Monday of the month. Does anyone have an interest in taking that one on?
I'll take that on.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
once a month?
Anyone want to arm wrestle? Anyone want, would any request to be an alternate for that? Okay.
I request a bag of coffee beans to stay awake for all these assignments.
As long as it's less than $70 a year, it's going to be
Yes,
really
thank
cheap
you.
coffee.
They provide coffee. Dinner.
Oh, they provide coffee. Okay, very good. All right. Morgan Hill City School Liaison, we had requests from trustees Altman and Andrade, and I'm happy to be the alternate. If somebody else wants to take alternate, that's fine. Okay. Santa Clara County School Boards Association Executive Board. So I've been doing that because I usually go to the meetings. If anybody else wants the job, I'm happy to turn it over. Okay, we'll leave that alone. CSBA Delegate Assembly, those are elected, and we can actually take this off of our list, as it's actually countywide elections, and we don't have anybody elected to that. Okay, so now we're to item 8. Trustee Altman has requested that we take that to 2. Do we have any discussion? Also, first thing, so this is actually the Budget Committee, not the half public, not the BOC, right? In fact, the name has been changed. It just say Budget Committee. This is this year is scheduled for all day on January 27th and January 30th. So these are pretty significant time commitments. Yes.
And they're interesting because, first of all, they're painful, going through the budget with that fine of a comb, but I don't really see any reason why we need to limit which board members attend. And I think the better any of us understand the budget, the better off we all are. So.
Yeah, I mean, as my understanding from a Brown Act point of view, we wouldn't want 4 or more there, for any.
Actually, our policy says if there's a majority that, I was just looking at the board policy.
You just listen and say nothing, yeah.
Yeah, you listen and say nothing. Not my strong suit, but I do think that there is no reason why we shouldn't have at least 2. Other than if there were 3, I would be really surprised.
Trustee Altman, do you remember when you and Trustee Eves Knudsen sat on the Budget Committee?
Yeah.
Were you the alternate? Was she the alternate? Because
I think she was the alternate.
But you both attended.
Yeah, we both attended.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kept each other awake, but.
I'd like to put my name in for that if this is what we do, because I would be, and I have that time frame on that weekend, I'm open.
Yeah, if we're going to have 2, I'm not opposed to having 2, since we have had quite a number of difficult split votes on matters of budget. I think it should be probably one that has usually voted with the 3 and one that has usually voted with the 4, just as a matter of balance. Not, I don't know how others feel about that, if that seems.
Well, I think we can even have 3 and there still isn't a problem with the Brown Act.
Yeah, that's certainly legally allowable. I'm not sure how, and maybe Assistant Superintendent Chang or Dr. Garcia would like to kind of talk about what goes on. I've never actually been to one, so what goes on, what the expectation is, how much conversation there is versus. And I'm sorry?
No,
We'll start with Assistant Superintendent Chang.
Well,
Yeah,
last
I
year,
mean, if you want to pull a comment card, you can. We'll allow that.
well, last year, that was the first year that I facilitated the group, and I'm more collaborative and interactive, so I like to, have those conversations as it comes up. I don't know how it was done before, but I mean, I think having, those dialogues with various people with various background is helpful for the whole group, not only for the administration, but we have different bargaining units. We have MHFT, BH Mesilla, and Mahala in there. So, I mean, it's a good conversation to have.
So
and to better
how many
understand.
folks are typically participating?
There's about 15 maybe, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's an all-day event, 2 days.
Two all-day. Two all-day
events. So
Two
it
all-day
is.
events. And you've done this kind of work in other districts. Do you have kind of best practice guidance from what you've seen in other places, or are we the only ones that do it this way?
No, it runs pretty similar. You have different representatives from different bargaining units, a couple board members, depending on, the size of the district. And the administration really is there just to facilitate and provide information, data, and answer questions that, the committee might have.
And how about regarding board participation?
They are part of the committee, so, the conversation flows pretty evenly.
So, I mean,
across the-
number. You
across-
just so did you, and most districts have
Yeah.
5. So did you typically have 1 or 2 or 3 or all or?
We had 2, and the district it came from had a 5-member board. So,
Okay. Yeah, I remember when I first asked this question with the previous superintendent many years ago. That time, the pushback from him was, the board's going to look at this later, so we don't want you to prejudge. But that was just, one. So for a long time, on this district, it's been 1 or sometimes 2 has been the practice. I'm not saying that's what should be done. That's just what I was told back at that time. So Trustee Munson has expressed an interest. Trustee Altman, do others have the time and interest?
I do.
Sorry?
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd be interested, and I have a lengthy history, like 2 decades. And I'm accepting change, so it's okay if things change, but I have been a part of this for a long time.
Okay. Well, my suggestion is that we go to 2, if maybe 3. I think, if none of the other of the 4 that have been supportive of the budget can go, I'm certainly willing to raise my hand and participate. I don't know. Some folks haven't weighed in on how we best ought to do this. So some of you that haven't had a chance to speak. Trustee Munson, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you had a 5-member board and there were 2 members that went, and we have a 7-member board, it wouldn't be unreasonable to have 3 people.
I think if we do that, it's very important that as board members, we're there to listen, not to influence the conversation, since the final decisions will.
Yeah, I don't think it's influence. I mean, I attended last time. It's more of a collaboration and just a discussion. Well, I guess not we're not collaborating on anything, but it's a discussion. It's just an understanding, fine tune. Okay, what is this? What is that? It's not, we're not making any decisions. QA can attest to that. We're just diving in, and we're just.
I'll be a little flexible, invite Mr. Nian up for public comment on this topic, please.
And I'd like to make a comment, President Horner, that the reason why I was involved a long time ago is part of the purpose was for budget transparency for the bargaining units. And so it's really not like setting the budget or anything like that. It's just studying the budget in great detail so that, especially when we did interest-based bargaining, the unions understood going in what might be on the table and the financial position of the district. It's not setting policy. It's had been strictly informational for the bargaining units. And then there were a couple community members and a couple board members just because why not?
Hi. I think even before I was time in the union, there has always been 2, but I think it's important to have like a 2 or 3, simply because, we talk about like the metaphor of like looking underneath our couch cushions and finding pennies, right? Like, I think that was what we were kind of doing with Covera, and Doris was like exceptionally receptive to like, oh, I don't know about this. And so like they would uncover the couch and be like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know how deep it went, right? So the line by line, Nancy says it was painful work, but it's actually kind of enjoyable. It's kind of like you go through it and you know every single line. So I would be like, 4,800 is certificate of salaries, like it just rolls in your head. So I think it's really important that in a short report like this, that we have more people on the board just to go by line, so that actually people can know like the difference between unrestricted and restricted. It's just really a deep dive and how the percentages work in that way. So that's what I want to say. So thank you for hearing my suggestion. The historical note and lore is that there has always been 2 in these committees. So that's the historical note. I can look in our files in the union cabinet, but I know for historical note there has always been 2. So
QA, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Has it always been 2 days? There was a time when it was 1 day.
So
correct?
there was a time, so when Jim was president, it was 1 day, but for the line by line, we just could not do it within 1 day.
Okay, so that was the origin of it.
Yeah, by like 2, I think, Quivira, Rebecca, Munson, by 2, I think our eyes are like pretty glossed over. We're like, we can't see another line. But it used to be in like October or something like that, but I totally understand why it would be in January, right after the governor's budget, which is really important too, because we sent our negotiations team, we sent our budget team, 5 of us, to Sacramento that day, where we also see Quivira there, and then we go back and we have more questions to ask him. So yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how about on this line, if we assign 2 plus an alternate, and the alternate is welcome to go, so that's effectively 3. We were doing 1 plus an alternate, and the alternate was.
Yeah.
So I would like to be one of the 3, as one of the 4 that has generally not been opposing our budget moves. And it sounds like we have 2 more from the other group of 3. So who else is ready to commit the 2 days? Maybe just raise hands and we can go from there.
That's the first week of the semester. That's a no.
So there's 3 more, but.
Well, I don't see why, I find it interesting that you're trying to make this differentiation about the budget. I mean, this is something that I think if we want to do it, we should be able to do it. So I don't know why you're kind of creating this blockage.
Well, we can't send 4, right? And so we have, I'm not trying to create, I'm observing a reality that every budget decision recently has been tough and often divided. So there's different perspectives, and I think all those different kind of perspectives should be involved. So I'm trying to recognize a distinction we've been living with, not create one. So I've seen different people kind of sort of, I'm not sure, Trustee Munson, I saw your hand kind of go up. Okay, Trustee Altman, were you?
Well, I really, I'm not sure, and maybe Assistant Superintendent Cheng can give some input if it matters. Like if we're on the 3 or the 4 side, since it's just looking at the budget, it's not, we're not inputting on it. It's just.
It's strictly informational.
Yeah, so.
Well, if it's conversational and collaborative, then it's more than informational. So it's kind of in the middle.
It's more understanding. It's just getting a deeper dive understanding of what line by line is.
It doesn't sound like it's setting direction. It sounds like it's gathering information and understanding.
Okay. So let's just get clear. Who wants to, I want to be on it. Who else wants to be on it? Just by a raise of hands. And are any of the 3 of you willing to step aside? Okay. So we're probably going to have to go through the whole motion and vote thing then, which I really was hoping to avoid. Let's resolve the other ones and come back to this, okay? Special Education SEAC, we have
me.
Okay, and
We need an alternate.
do we need an alternate for that, or you can just phone a friend if?
Yeah, I've only not been able to attend one, and they're on Zoom now, so an alternate's always good, but
Okay. Would anyone like to be the alternate for that?
Very few meetings.
What day are the meetings?
Thursday, Thursdays, right?
Daytime,
Are they
evening?
Evening.
Evening by Zoom.
I'll be an alternate.
Okay, thank you very much. Board Policy Subcommittee, we have 3 requests plus 1 for alternate, so that meets that requirement. Community Asset Builders, we had 1 request.
Do we need an alternate?
An alternate for that would be useful.
Alternate, I believe that's on Fridays at noon, Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be an alternate.
Okay, thank you.
And if that's too much for you, Veronica, I'm happy to do that as well. You can put me as another alternate.
Okay, you can be the backup alternate, because sometimes the alternate can't make it, and you just phone a friend and do it that way. South County Youth Task Force, we had requests from Andrade for the primary, and I'm willing to be the alternate. If someone else wants to take that, that's fine. Okay, we'll leave that as stated. The Safety Task Force, sorry, yes?
Yeah, I'll take Safety Task Force.
Okay, so Safety Task Force, Altman as primary, and Munson as alternate. Is that correct? We get that right? The Education Foundation, we had 2 positions and 2 requests.
Can we go back, sorry. And I sent South County Task Force alternate, not the safety task force.
Oh, okay.
12, I'm 12.
So that's an error here. So do we have someone willing to be alternate for the Safety Task Force? Since I don't have a day job, you can put me down.
I'm sorry, for the South County Youth Task Force, I thought that was via Zoom. What days are those again?
No, Youth Task Force is in person.
It's in person.
Where and when? It's in Gilroy.
Sometimes it's in Gilroy, sometimes it's here.
Alternates between Gilroy and Morgan
Days
Hill.
and times?
About Thursday morning. There's going to be a
Puede ser, yo no vivo en Morgan Hill.
Sí.
Esta junta es el 28 de enero.
Yeah.
What time?
It's typically it's 10 to 12.
I can't do it. I'm teaching. I'm sorry, I thought it was via Zoom.
I can take it if no one else wants it.
Okay.
Isn't there one scheduled?
Sorry?
There's one scheduled, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, next week. The 28th.
Like I said, there it is. 21st is when I have it.
Okay, so we've completed the other items. They're filled as needed. I'm going to go back to number 8. I am going to drop my request in hopes that we can work in a collaborative environment. So at least 2 plus an alternate. Yeah.
Who's the alternate though?
Yeah, so it doesn't really.
As long as the alternate can attend, I really don't care if, it's not like we're
Yeah, so Mark.
We're
trustee
just
Altman.
learning.
Yeah.
Okay, then. I think that completes this work. So we've not traditionally had to vote on this, and so we'll just do this by unanimous consent. Well, moving on now to L1, approve recommendation for expulsion of student E 2526-03. As always, we discuss this at length in closed session, but since it's regarding a student, that's all confidential. So do we have, in this case, a motion to approve the recommendation?
I motion to approve the recommendation.
Thank you, Trustee Andrade. Do we have a second?
Second.
Sorry, Trustee Altman? I heard stereo there, or Munson.
Oh, both, but she can.
Okay, This one goes, student board member, you're off the hook. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, and then on the second one, this is a little unusual.
I was going to ask if we can move to not approve the readmission.
Yes.
I will second that.
Okay, so trustee Andrade made the motion to deny the readmission of R2526-002, and trustee Altman seconded. All in favor of the denial, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Okay, seeing none. Go on to future agenda items, and again, to be a little crisper, on each of these requests, if there's any significant amount of effort or time involved, we'll have a show of hands. It needs to be at least 4 people saying, yes, please bring this back. So do we have any requests? Trustee Altman.
Yeah, I would like us to have a discussion on pursuing parcel taxes and bonds.
Agendize it.
Agendize it.
I mean, we're currently planning on that for March or April when the consultant's work is coming back. So I mean, we've planned that for some time.
So March, you think?
March or April, just depending how soon they're able to bring the information back to us.
Okay.
So we don't need to. This has been ongoing work. We've talked about many times. Other items. So expectation is March or April. We'll have the work prepared for that.
Yeah, I have something.
Yes, please, Trustee Munson.
So I think Trustee Marquez and myself we were talking about Martin Murphy and the start time and that kind of thing. I wanted to add to my little, how you send out that report or whatever, that if we can look into the start times of Los Paseos. The families there are very concerned about the early start time. It doesn't give them enough time with their children at night. They have to wake up really early. And so maybe that could be part of that realigning of the Martin Murphy time and the Los Paseos time. Let me add that in there. And then my other one
Hold
was...
on. If I may, just take them one at a time, if I can. Just want to get to consensus, or I'm just trying to be a little more rigorous.
Got it.
No, I'm not trying to be hard, just want to... So on that one, normally the board doesn't kind of set start times.
No.
That's a staff function, so I'll just ask the superintendent, what's the appropriate way to address this request and concern?
And I don't think I was directing, I just wanted that to be an option, like include that as something to look into.
I think the operative word was collaboration that we were talking about earlier with respect to the budget. And so when it comes to start and end times, it's collaborative conversations with our partners, with MHFT, et cetera.
Yeah.
We can certainly add Los Paseos without over-promising.
Of course.
And under-delivering, we can certainly, continue to talk to parents, collaborate with our bargaining group, and we can come back with some of our findings.
Absolutely.
Again,
Thank
at the
you.
risk of over-promising and under-delivering. Just if I can just provide some, little bit of the history behind the change in Los Paseos. That happened 2 or 3 years ago, and it was unanimous on behalf of the community in terms of changing that time. And so that's why I'm a little bit surprised to hear this, but we can certainly look into it.
And maybe I can get that data. I don't know how you collected the information.
Oh, it was years of advocacy.
Okay.
Yeah, to start earlier.
Okay.
Because Los Paseos always started significantly later than the rest of the schools.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Well-
thank you. So, yeah, please do.
I remember back when that was a discussion, and it was more because Los Paseos and Martin Murphy their start times were so close together. It was congestion of traffic, trying to get the parents to drop off their kids, and everybody's going this way. And it was very disruptive, and it was dangerous for the kids because they're crossing streets and so forth. So that was one of the reasoning of implementing that time change. But I do understand what Trustee Munson's question is, why is it 7:45 versus 9 o'clock 7:45 at Los Paseos, 9 o'clock at Martin Murphy? So if we can kind of maybe close the gap a little bit and maybe suggest that's what we want to have the discussion about.
That will be part of the ongoing conversation.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so since that's primarily staff work, not board action. We don't need to all agree. And so to get that clear, please, you had some other items?
Yes, my second one was, and I'm not sure if everybody's aware of this, but so Charter of Morgan Hill, right across the street is a farm, and 5 families own that farm. And they are looking to invest and develop a lithium battery storage plant right across from the school. And I know it's not directly our, it's our charter. I mean, they're still our community members, kids.
We're the authorizer, so yeah.
Yeah. And so, and those lithium battery facilities are very dangerous, very toxic, yes. And so I was just looking if maybe we can look into the matter, maybe consider a resolution about that. I just don't think it's very healthy for, if anything does happen, just the toxicity and everything for the kiddos and everything.
So that's, I guess, in San Jose city limits?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, I'm not familiar with the situation. Do you have any more information or documentation?
I do not.
Okay, I did, yeah.
It is public, but they are trying to keep it very quiet. So it's not as public as probably it should be.
There's been discussion on it on Nextdoor.
Is there? I don't have social
Next
media.
door in AI, you can't go wrong.
But maybe we could reach out to the mayor of San Jose and talk with him about that, because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it, and that's a
So,
big deal.
I mean, I'm certainly interested in us understanding more and advocating
Yeah.
on behalf of, any objection to that?
No.
Okay, so at this point, we will learn more. And perhaps take a position if, yeah.
Clarification, is the ask for staff to do research on the topic and to bring the topic back to the board?
Yeah, I'm just, can you?
I'm unclear with respect to the
Yeah,
ask.
other than Nextdoor, where is this information coming from? I'm just wondering where we even go to actually, is there, a planning or permitting app? Is there any application?
Perhaps Trustee Munson can do research and send it into Claudia, and then Claudia can send it out.
Actually, we can contact the district. I can forward her the information. I did speak somebody
So that
from
would-
that district that's in charge of that, so I can forward that information. Yep, and then that.
So I guess we're asking for some preliminary research.
Probably charter
Not-
school
not-
would
not-
know.
Not $100,000 worth of land
Thank-
use attorneys.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
These things can get very, very dramatic. Okay, anything else?
I would like to request a couple things. One, I'd like to request that we agendize, I believe it's called school placement, where the teachers have written in, several of them, this was probably 5 months ago or so, they were having problems with getting their kids not automatically renewed at the same site that they're teaching at. So we were supposed to talk about this and come to some sort of conclusion with regards to board policy, and it's just something else that's just
we
not being
have-
followed up on.
We have a board policy subcommittee meeting on Tuesday,
And this will be, yeah, next
and this is the
Tuesday.
topic.
Okay, well, and I'm supposed to be, I got the invite to that, and I said, yes, where's the agenda? Has the agenda gone out yet?
The agenda will be made public tomorrow.
Okay, well then, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, you just
We,
responded.
my pretty amazing right hand and left hand did send a calendar invite to all 3 former members of the policy subcommittee. So now we'll have to, we'll look at the table and send the invitation to the new members of the policy subcommittee.
Well, either way, it wouldn't have, there would be no way we would know that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You're just answering your question. Did you have something else?
Oh, yes, and I would like to request that either we agendize or whatever we're going to do to get the contract from Dale Scott to actually read through that. Because from what I understand.
We can email it to all 7 board members.
That would be a good thing to do. Thank you.
Any others?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay, I have none. So seeing no further action at 8:41, we are adjourned. Oh, no, yes, okay, yeah. I didn't miss anything, did I? Okay, there we go.